in your friend group, what type of cute are you? So that's today's question. I will try not to move the cards so much because they tend to slide. So hello everyone, my name is Sunny. In case you're not new, that's my name. And take your time to select the pile. Pile 1 is on the left, pile 2 is in the middle, and pile 3 is on the right side. So select more than one pile if you're attracted to. Only take what resonates. Not every message in each pile is going to be meant for you. You're going to usually kind of feel like a little light bulb moment when you hear the message is meant for you. So again, this is a lighthearted reading, and I will go ahead and start with pile number 1. So pile number 1, these are your cards. I find that you are very bright, number 1. Sorry, I have allergies today. So today, well, you have the Queen of Wands upright. So this is a close-up of the first card that you have. I'm gonna let it kind of, I don't think it's focusing. Focus, there you go. Well, I guess that's the busted, there you go. So pile 1, you have the Queen of Wands. I'm gonna go ahead and move these up. And then your second card that I have for you, pile 1, you have the 8 of Pentacles upright. There you go, focus there. Yay. So there's your second card, pile 1. Oh, much better. I think it's just maybe possibly my lighting as to why it's not focusing that great, so I apologize. I don't normally have this issue, but I guess because I've been doing different locations where the lighting hits, I'm kind of trying to figure out which one's, the best one. But anyways, going back to your reading, pile number 1, the kind of person that you are in your friend group, I feel like you're a very stable person, and you're like the heart of the group, whether it's 1 or 2 people, of course, that's a group. A group is like 2 or 3, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, my allergies are kicking in. Whether it's 2 or 3 people or more, maybe you're like, I for sure somehow feel that there's more than 3 people for this pile. I think the majority of the people that chose this pile have a good amount of friends, close friends, not like a gazillion friends, but enough that you can count with maybe 1 or 2 hands, right? And I definitely think that you're the heart of the group. The reason why I say that is because there's so much bright yellows in this pile. Like, look at the Queen of Wands with her robe, and then the pentacle energy on the right side. There's a lot of strong yellows, even though it's not the main color, but in the neutrals, in the neutrals of both of these individual cards, there's a lot of brightness and yellow. There's so much vitality to you. You have a heart of gold, and I think that's what stands out for you in your friend group, that you are the heart of the group. You are the person that they might approach to because you could have the best advice, but you're also methodical, and I think you're someone that thinks things through and through. Overall, you're someone that's very stable, someone that's knows how to get their message across when they're trying to help friends. Sometimes people go to, there's always a friend in the group that you go to for advice, and you're likely this person because you're someone that you're open for conversation, you're open for argument as well, but it's also something that is necessary because you know that there's, I'm not trying to say that you're necessarily cold, because that's usually like a misunderstanding of the Queen of Wands, but someone that is very calculating, because you consider all outcomes of all scenarios, right? You're someone that could likely feel that you're very smart and very, how could I say, it's just, for some reason I get a lot of Leo energy, even though this is not Leo cards, but I definitely feel you're very open-hearted. And I know the Queen of Wands would say otherwise, but I feel for you it's just, you wear your heart on your skin, I'm sorry, that came out terribly. You wear your heart on your sleeve, That was such a terrible analogy. I apologize, pile one. that took a little dark turn there. But yes, I do think you're very beautiful, but you have this calming energy to you. You're very subtle when it comes to your beauty, that people will notice you in your friend group, but you're that friend who's like, they kind of like from afar, typically, because not because you're not approachable, but because you give off this air of, not that I'm above you, but you have to come with me. You have to come to me straight. You can't come to me trying to pull your tricks. You can't be trying to one up me or trying to get one over me, because it could they could really realize how manipulative you could be, or calculating, in the sense where it takes that opposite turn of the Queen of Wands for someone that will do anything and say anything to stay where she is in power, right? But I do think you're very diplomatic overall, pile one. Very pretty. I think your hair is very pretty. I think you could have strong air with earth sign in your chart, or have heavy transits in those placements, right? I do think your hair and your dexterity in your hands, there's something about your hands that move a lot. Maybe you have that alertness of people like to stare at you because as you speak, which I feel that I'm doing right now as myself, that I'm moving my hands, right? I'm moving a lot as I speak to get a point across, or just be very expressive. You're a very expressive person with your hands and arms, and it's very eye-catching. And I also think that you possibly could have a lot of creativity. Am I even saying that right now? I'm stuttering. There's a lot of creativity in you that it's just, people like to stare at your work. Your work is very public, or your speech speaks for itself. I think you have a very interesting, colorful arrangement of words and sentence structures that maybe are very poetic, and maybe people might not see that firsthand, but you're someone that's very good at expressing himself or herself, and it's alluring in that sense of your speech. Maybe you have a Mercury in Aquarius, right? It's a very interesting speech arrangement, or maybe Mercury in Libra, Mercury in Gemini as well, but it's just maybe even Mercury in Pisces. But I definitely feel that your speech pattern is something that people like to listen to. Maybe it's just the way you speak about yourself, or it's how you approach problems and solve things that's magnetic to others, right? Pile one. So that's the kind of person that you're, the kind of cute you are. You're someone that people like to listen to. They pay attention to your words, and they pay attention when you speak up, because you don't just speak up because things are coming out of your behind. You actually have some thought into it and some process to it. There's a method to your madness, and something about you that just speaks that you are knowledgeable and you know what you're speaking about, and you probably speak about things that you're creative about. You have creative endeavors, and you want to tell people, you want to instruct them how they can improve themselves, or how they can learn this, or how they can do that themselves. You're someone that likes to help out people, not because you're malicious and try to hoard information, but you actually want to teach people. You want to let them know that there's a lot of things they could be interested in, and you facilitate that for others. And I think that's very alluring about you. So I hope that helped, pile one. That's why you're alluring, and you're the cute. That's the kind of cute person in your aesthetic that you are in your friend group. You could also wear lovely clothing that's very bright. Bright colors possibly suit you, or very colorful pieces, statement pieces likely. Or you could have a lovely little pet aside you, and that's why they also know you. Like, you always have your pet with you, or take a lot of pictures with them. You could have possibly an affinity for plants and maybe esoteric practices, because it gives off a witchiness to you also as well. But not in a scary kind of way, but it's an approachable way where, like, hey, what are you doing? And you start telling them about your own personal practices. So I hope that helped, pile number one. I will start with pile number two. So pile number two, what type of cute are you in your friend group? These are your cards you have. Okay. You have the Emperor reversed. There you go. Okay, there, focused. And then you also have the Ten of Cups upright. Interesting. So I think that for you, pile 2. Sorry, you're gonna hear me breathe weird. I think they kind of come and go, but I do feel that my nose is like nasally today. My voice is kind of nasally today, so I apologize. But pile 2, the reason why you're the kind of cute that you are in your friend group is because I think you're someone that's very introspective. And when I say this is that you're someone that's likely, you have a lot of emotions, and I think you have that spirit. You have the kindred spirit that everyone likes to associate with or relate to. You're someone that's very relatable, pile number 2. I also think there's a softness and delicacy to you and how you possibly approach people or how you express yourself, and people can see themselves building a safe environment with you. Not just, this is the family card and on the right side with the Ten of Cups, but that happily ever after. They can't imagine themselves with you in that aspect where you are, what's that expression? You are something with a bag of chips. But you're basically everything. You're the entree, dessert, the drinks, everything. But I think overall, for you, pile 2, you maybe at your worst when you have when you get really, really upset and angry at people, you could be a tad bit passive aggressive. Let's face, there's also I also like to point out some other traits in you that are not always, the best, but that's something you work on, right? I also think you keep a lot to yourself possibly, and people respect that to some extent because you're not going to be emotionally giving outbursts, or you're not going to let the anger get the worst of you. You really kind of hold it in and use those moments where you really need to channel that anger and let it out. But it's not often. I don't feel that you're someone that's very angry all the time, but you're someone that will think about things through. You don't want to let the negative outbursts get the best of you, because maybe you could be surrounded by your friends who are easily triggered or get angry and then, lose their shiz. And you're that friend who kind of wants to maybe do the opposite. And you do get angry, you do get upset, don't get me wrong, but you really think about the situations when it's best to do that, right? You're not going to easily do that. Or you can also channel your those negative emotions and your anger into positive things and create beautiful pieces of art. Create creativity. You express yourself through writing, through art. There are many different forms of art, and even physical discipline. Like if you study, not study necessarily, but you practice a physical outlet like martial arts, boxing, kickboxing, or you can also be interested in, just doing regular exercises, just going to the gym. Some people like to do the I forgot what they're called, the skateboard, skating, those things, they're so cool. But I don't know how to do that. But there's so many different outlets you could possibly you channel that type of expression through those means, that it's such a positive outcome for yourself and your body, that you don't retain that anger. You really channel that anger, that's what I'm getting. Your anger, whatever you feel, you channel that through creative outlets, and it becomes a positive you're very good at transformation of that anger and aggression, that drive and motivation. You put it into creative outlets and you let the world see your masterpieces. You're someone that's very disciplined in that aspect, and I think that's beautiful. I think I'm very in awe and respect of this pile because you have so much discipline in that aspect. that's what it feels like. It's not always, of course, being like everyone's, you know, dream come true. Like, oh, I aspire to, you know, be like this person, or I aspire to get with this person because they look like they have it all. You know, they're the white picket fence person. But no, this is just some aspects, right? But if they get to know you on a deeper level, that's the kind of person you are in your friend group. You're someone that is also good at talking to people. You don't just think with, you don't react. Being reactive is not the first thing in your mind or your system to be like, you hear something, somebody wants to talk to you about something, and they want to address something to you, and your first reaction is not to be aggressive or lash out. That's not the way you structure yourself, right? I think it's a lot more productive to listen to the other party or the issue, and then you work through it, you disarm it, you go back to the nitty-gritty, and you really get to the root of the problem, and you know how to channel that in a positive way, and it comes out a much more healthy way. I think you're just a very good person at getting that anger and discipline, just that cardinal energy in you, to really get that out there in a much more productive, healthy way. You're very good at that transformation energy, but people might not see that right away, but you do give off that vibe of like, I know what, I demand respect, right, to some extent. And you're someone who could be also younger, like in that physical aspect, you could look young, like you have like a youthful face, not always a baby face, but it can be. It's just, again, Emperor, I think of Aries, but Aries is the baby, the zodiac. So you could give off that energy where you start to give off this youthfulness to you, and this maybe naivety, but that's not necessarily you, that's just how maybe others perceive you. You could also have very, like, the opposite of the Emperor, someone who has very pigmented hair. And when I say that, you could have colored hair that's red, or you could have colored hair that's like brown or a crazy color, but it's very pigmented. It's not a washed off color. That's what I'm trying to think of this person, like this individual aspect of you. Or you could have very dark black hair. It's very pigmented. I just keep thinking of your hair. And you could possibly, I think you like to be in muted colors or neutral colors in your friend group. I think you could also be someone who's just tame in this aspect of color schematics, right? But it still commands respect. It's not someone, you don't look like the kind of person that would like walk all over you, because you still have this like subtlety to you, this like, I'm in my throne, I'm in my space. If I need to attack, I'm ready to go, because this Emperor is always dressed like, he may have a robe over, but he still has his outfit under, right, that he can attack at any moment. But his armor, there you go, his armor. You have your armor there, but it's not for everyone to see. It's not something you're like, I need to go, right? So I feel that's why for some reason you have creative outlets that are very attractive to people, and that's what people see about you. That's the kind of cute aesthetic that you have, is that you have, for some reason, I think likely that you could have a sport. Maybe you're a swimmer, or maybe you ski or something, but there's a sport or like a creative outlet that people like to see you in because you excel at it. You are very good, possibly in gymnastics maybe, but it's, again, someone that's very good at transforming that anger and aggression, just that passive aggressiveness, into positive outlets and a positive way to express themselves in a healthy way, right? So I hope that helped pile 2. That's what I have for you. Select a different pile if you want to. I will start with pile 3. Pile 3, oops. Well, your first card, pile 3, you have the 6 of Pentacles upright. Oh, there you go. And then your second card, pile 3, you have the Ace of Pentacles reversed. There you go. So, what type of cute are you, pile 3, in your friend group? sorry. I'm trying to center them. For you, pile 3, the kind of cute that you are, I feel that you're someone that is very humanitarian for some reason, and maybe that might not seem so obvious to everyone, maybe just to your close friends at first, is because you are. This is energies where it's like, whenever I feel that I get an upright and a reverse, I was going to say opposite, I always feel that's like there's an in and out outlet where it's like something goes in, something goes out. It's in and out, like a very healthy way of, most of the time I think it's a very healthy way of flow. It's a good way of flowing, right? You know when to go in, you know when to go out. Introspective, and I don't even think extrospective is the word, extroverted. I think extroverted is the right word. Yeah. But you know when to be in flow with these two. So you know when there's a time and a place to think, and there's a time and a place to take action. And that's what I feel for you, pile 3. That's why I feel that maybe not everybody might see that you are always giving, because they're not always seeing you, right? Sorry, I had to take a sip of drink of water because it's not hot, but I feel like sometimes when you start talking after a while, and especially because I tend to talk not fast but often, I feel that sometimes I get a dry throat. But overall for you, pile 3, you're someone that is very giving of your time. You're someone that's beautiful in that aspect of, you know how to give to others when it's needed. I don't feel that you necessarily ask for that attention. I think that some people like to be like, oh, I'm here at, X place, and like, example, like, I'm like feeding the homeless, take a picture, like helping out the community. Like, I don't feel that's necessarily you. I feel that you're someone that likes to help people, but you don't necessarily feel like you need to have the credit for it. I think you might do that sometimes on behind the scenes, or just, you're not someone that needs the attention. You'd rather just help people and not receive the attention on yourself, but rather you want the attention to be on the focus on them. It's like, the situation needs help, please focus on this. Or if you're if you're someone that takes care of a family, you could be like, for some reason I feel like this is like a provider energy, and I feel like you could possibly either be married, or you have kids to, like, if you're separated, you have kids, or in any other circumstances you have family members you take care of, or pets you take care of, or someone that you are the provider, you are the head of household, right? Like, that's a good way of saying, but you're someone that they need to rely on for a bit, or maybe forever, but you are the source of stability for them. You're the source of income. You're the source of, sorry, I'm trying to not get so nasally, I apologize, but you're the source of stability. And I think you're very caring, and it doesn't really bother you because you like not to feel needed, but you like being used of them. You like to be used in service. You like that. I think that you thrive on those kinds of scenarios, because maybe you didn't grow up like that, and somehow you're that person who started from the bottom and now you're in the top, or you started with a terrible environment where you weren't sufficiently stimulated, or you weren't sufficiently taken care of the way you should have, and somehow you managed to get yourself in that great environment because you built yourself up to there. You decided to go above your means. You decided to not have obstacles stop you, even if it took you some time, because this is pentacle energy. You had to get you had to get there and build yourself up slowly but surely, but you got there, right? And you got yourself into a position, sorry, I start getting real bad. You got yourself into a position where you could help others aside from you, and that's why it's attractive, right? I want to sneeze so bad, I'm so sorry. And then the worst part is that the feeling, like, just when I think I'm gonna sneeze, it goes away. It's just the worst feeling when you want to sneeze and you can't. And that's why, going back to your reading, sorry, pile 3, it's why people are attracted to being a friend of you in this friend group. You're that person that stands out in that way where you're caring for others because there's so much reliability in you and understanding that there's always situations that arise and you don't always need to have responses from people because you know, it's like you already know the answer. It's like you don't need to ask for questions. You just kind of help out in whatever way you can because you're understanding. You know what it's like to be in their shoes and in their place of not having much or being limited or having to struggle because you've been there and you don't want others. I think you have such a big heart. You don't want others to struggle the same struggles you had. And that's such a noble feeling, a noble sentiment to feel and to be because not everyone is like that, right? But in a world where I just believe in maybe it's because I try to feel that there's always a comeback for everyone, even if they're at their worst, but I try to be that person who believes that there's always second chances, right? And I feel that you're the kind of person who possibly might be the same. You believe in giving people second chances. You believe in comebacks. You believe in turning around and being better for yourself and others. And I feel that for you, there's times and moments where you give to others and you listen to them and you nurture them possibly. It's not just physical energy. I know people always think it's money, but what is an asset for you that you can give to others is what I think of it always. So sometimes it's patience. Sometimes it's just hearing people, listening. Of course, money, helping them out, giving that extra hand, providing stability, and maybe possibly helping out with food, things like that. Like, it's just things that require time and effort, patience, things like that from your heart. And I also think with the Ace of Pentacles, you also know when to give back to you. It's not just give to others. It's like, I can give to myself too. I know there's a time and a place to work out for others, and then there's a time and a place to work for myself. So that's what I feel for you, pile number 3. Overall, I feel you're someone that I feel like it's like one hand, because I think of the scale too, it's like, you know how to balance this. You're very good at balancing many things, many aspects, right? One hand is for giving, one hand is for receiving for you. It's like back, forth, back, forth, back. So I really like this kind of energy for you, pile 3. That's why that's the kind of cute people. People just know that you have a good heart and you have good intentions, and people find that very sweet and endearing from you. I also think that you could wear, like, in a physical aspect, I think you could have a beautiful face. I think you have possibly a very structured face. Since there's a lot of energy, earth energy here, so I think you could have a very structured face. Maybe you don't need a whole lot of things, but the minimal items that you wear is still very pretty. People can not call you out, but they can recognize you a lot because that's how you are. Being simple, to the point, practical, but very beautiful. And that's why I just keep thinking, like, you must have a very beautiful face, like very structured, like great jaw or like great nose, very structured eyebrows and eyes, and even like beautiful lips that could be hydrated or could be like just beautiful, like not an excessive of like extremely big features, but not very small features either. It's very, I keep thinking for some reason like of like Salma Hayek face for some reason. Doesn't necessarily have to be the skin tone, but like, that face structure, she has very structured angles. Jaw, nose, lips, eyes, eyebrows, forehead, cheekbones. Very structured, high cheekbones even at that. I just feel someone that's your kind of face structure likely for this person. That's why you're this kind of cute, is someone who's a very structured, not necessarily bony, you don't have to be bony, but your bone structure stands out. You don't have to be a skinny person, but for overall, you're just someone that has a presence, right? And that's what's that kind of cuteness in you. It's just people can find that alluring. It's just like some people prefer the minimal practical look because it's simple, and that feels elegant to people. There's a regalness to you, I feel, in that aspect. So I hope that helped, pile number 3. If you were attracted to, select a different pile, pick that pile. There could be a message for you. Not every single message in every pile that I said is going to resonate. Take what does, leave what doesn't. This is a general reading. So have a great day because you made it a great day, not because I told you to. So thank you all for listening in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share if you'd like. It's not mandatory, but of course, it's always welcome. So thank you. Sorry. Thank you all, and bye-bye.